is the Louie Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 7 in the National Football League. The Carolina Panthers taking on the Chicago Bears, the Bears, who all of a sudden winners of 2 straight, dominating football games. Bears? What? I told you before the season started, 1, don't doubt John Fox, one of the most underrated coaches in this league. Wherever he goes, winning soon follows. 2, this Bears team gonna scare some teams. Didn't necessarily know if they were gonna win more than 5 games. I said they were gonna win 4 to 5 games this season. They've already won 3, including a 2-game winning streak. But I knew they were gonna scare some teams. This is a tough Bears football team. They're physical, they're fast, they're young, they're hungry, they're aggressive, and they can run the football. And Tariq Cohen has been a breath of fresh air on the offensive side of the football. And so I said they're going to be in games, but I didn't necessarily know if they're going to beat teams the caliber of Carolina. But I tried to warn the Panthers coming into this game that it wasn't going to be easy. And it was funny. I heard a lot of Panthers fans kind of glossing over this game like, yep, we're going to beat the Bears, and we're going on to the next game. And I'm like, don't do that. No, seriously, don't do that. Don't count this as a win. Ask the Steelers how easy was it to go into Soldier Field and get a win. Oh, I forgot. They lost. Ask the Falcons how easy it was to go into Soldier Field and win. They should have lost. So if you're the Panthers, you should have been looking at this game as a real big test and challenge on the road and took it as such. You should have treated them like you treated Detroit on the road and not like you treated, some garbage team, which is what you went into this game thinking that the Bears were going to lay down and you were going to walk in there and get a win, and you were sadly mistaken. And yes, this was an ass whooping. 17-3 generally isn't an ass whooping. This was the most silent ass whooping I've ever seen because this game was so strange in the way that it went down. Literally, I looked at this game and I felt like this. It didn't go down this way, but I felt like this. I felt like the Panthers were just, going down the field like they had been doing all game long, and the clock just suddenly ran out. Like they weren't in hurry up or anything. They were oblivious to the clock, and then the officials just walked in and waved their arms and said, all right, that's the end of the game. And the Panthers like, what are you doing? The referee's like, the game's over. And they're like, what? No, it's not. They're like, yeah, the game's over. It's 17-3, you lost. That's how this game felt. It felt like it just came to an end abruptly, and the Panthers simply just didn't know the time nor the amount of urgency that they needed to have in this game. It just seemed like they ran out of time. Except they weren't scoring, so time wasn't really a factor. It was weird. It's like they looked up and it was the 4th quarter with a minute left and the Bears were taking knees, and they was like, the game's over? Yeah, you dominated time possession. And if you look at this box score, you would have thought the Panthers won this game 17-3, not the other way around. Yet, they lost this game 17-3. They're like, wait a minute, we had the football for like 40 minutes of this game, and you telling me it's over and we only scored 3 points? Yeah, that's what happens when you give up 275 and 70-plus yard defensive scores. One on a pick, 76 yards, another on a fumble, 75 yards, and you turn it over 3 times, and you don't do anything offensively, and you don't do anything defensively for the most part, and you eat up all the time on offense and then turn it over. Yeah, that's what happens. You lose the game 17. Do you realize Mitchell Trubisky threw the football 7 times in this game? Wait a minute. He threw it 7 times in this game. This man, they literally have this man on with a safety helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, shin guards, and they got this man on with a full foam breast pad on, okay? It's foam all the way around. They got this man in bubble wrap, and he's still out here beating teams. Last week, I think he threw it like 13 times versus the Ravens, 10 or 13, some crazy number. This week, he threw it 7 times. What? What? And they still won? Incredible. I've never seen anything like it in any event. And they didn't even have a great rushing day. Look, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. Also, I'm on a number of social media platforms. There's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's YouTube. All of the links to those different social media platforms of mine are in the description below. Check them out. Get familiar with those. It'll help you stay in sync with what's going on this channel. And also in the description is a way to donate to this channel via Patreon or PayPal. Both of those links, as you see before you, are down in the description below. Check those out. If you can donate, I beg of you to donate. We're trying to further this channel and take it to new heights. The best way for me to do that is through donations from my faithful viewers like you. And so if you can donate, please do. If you can't, all I ask is that you continue to support the channel the way that you always have by continuing to watch, liking, and sharing the videos. And of course, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network. Let's jump into this breakdown quickly. We start with the Bears, who are the winners in this game, 17-3. This was a phenomenal game from the standpoint of they had little to no offensive production in this football game. Everything they basically got in this game came on 3 plays. They had 2 turnovers that went for scores by Eddie Jackson, which was just phenomenal. Eddie Jackson going back to his Alabama roots where he was a playmaking fiend at Alabama. Normally his plays were made on special teams, but every now and again he'd get his hands on a tip pass and run that back to the crib. But he took a fumble, scooped it up, scored on that. 75 yards for a touchdown and got the scoring started in this game for the Bears. He then said, that was so nice, I'm going to do it twice. On a tip pass, he goes and scoops that out of the air and goes 76 yards for a touchdown and puts a nice move on Cam Newton and gets into the end zone to make it 14-0. They would later tack on a field goal on a huge Tariq Cohen run that would set them up for a field goal, and that was it for them. That was the extent of the scoring. That was the extent of the big plays in this game. They didn't need much else, did the Bears in this football game. That was enough because defensively they did the rest. And even though the Panthers possessed the football for damn near 40 minutes in this game, the Bears dominated this game. They got after Cam Newton. They made him uncomfortable. They stifled their run game. Anytime Cam Newton is your leading rusher, they're probably going to lose that football game. This is not the 2015 Panthers where Cam Newton can be an explosive runner and lead the team in rushing as well as passing, and they win the football game. This is not that. They can't afford for him to lead the team in rushing. He did it in this game, and normally when he leads the team in rushing, they lose the football game, and that's what happened. The Bears took Jonathan Stewart and Christian McCaffrey out of the game. Even though McCaffrey had a really solid outing, they are force-feeding the ball to McCaffrey because they realize we don't have a lot of playmakers. Outside of Funchess and Benjamin, there's not much more. That they're really missing Greg Olsen, and the Bears recognize that. They took the big playmakers out of the game, forced them to dump it down to McCaffrey a million times, rallied and tackled him when he got the football, didn't allow any big plays, kept everything in front of them, and they were able to stifle, suffocate, and smother this Panthers offense. And offensively themselves, they said, look, we don't have to do much. They're not going to score a ton of points today. We don't need to do much. We just need to not turn it over. Mitchell, you're only going to throw it 7 times. You're not going to throw a pick 6. You're not going to do what Cam Newton has done in this game. You're not going to turn it over. Hey, run game, we're just going to continue to run the football. And if we got to run it 3 times and punt, so be it. We'll punt them, pin them, and play defense the way we've been doing it all game long. And it was a winning recipe in this game. I don't know how many games you're going to be able to get away with your quarterback only throwing it 7 times and winning, but you were able to get away with it this game. Shots out to John Fox for getting one against his old ball club in dominating fashion, 17-3. My goodness. Like I said, this was a silent ass whooping here. I mean, this literally happened so quickly that if you blink, this game was over, and you're like, whoa, the Bears beat them. And when you watch the game, you're like, wow, it's halftime. Wow, it's the fourth. Wow, the game's over. Whoa, what just happened? 17-3, Bears won. Damn. That was efficient, quick, and painless, and they took care of business, get their second straight win, do the Bears in as many weeks as they go to 3-4 with this 17-3 domination over the Panthers. For the Panthers, this was really a disappointing outing because if you're trying to win that division, this was a game that you got to win. And that's not a shot at the Bears. But if you consider yourself a good team, you consider yourself a division-winning caliber team, you need to find a way to go on the road and beat the Chicago Bears. The Bears offensively did nothing in this game. You self-destructed offensively with 3 turnovers. I've been advocating so heavily for you guys to get McCaffrey and Curtis Samuel in the game. Well, you've been getting McCaffrey as many touches as you've been possibly could get him. Okay, I commend you for that. Now you're trying to work in Curtis Samuel, and I've been advocating that since day one. You try to get the man the football, and he just commits the biggest error because that fumble changed the whole entire complexity of that game. You were at least getting a Graham Gano field goal attempt if Cam doesn't turn it over, which he had his struggles on the day. But if Cam doesn't turn it over, which I don't think he was going to on that opening possession, you're going to get at least a field goal out of that possession, if not a touchdown. And for him to allow that pitch to hit him in his face, a perfect pitch, catch the goddamn football. I mean, that young man right there, he's struggling, all right? He's not getting a ton of touches, and when he does finally get an opportunity, that's what he does with it. That is just so shameful, and that changed the whole complexity of this game because after that, the Bears, they gained confidence. After that fumble, that scoop and score for a touchdown, they were able to allow the Panthers to go right back down the field again, get their hands in the cookie jar, deflection, ball in the air, Eddie Jackson, Johnny on the spot again, or in his case, Eddie on the spot, and this one goes to the crib as well. And for the Panthers, this is such a crushing loss because you had an opportunity to stay atop the division. Now the Saints, who started out 0-2, have run off 4 straight, and now they are atop the division, and they already own a win over you on your home turf. So now you got to try to go and get one from them in New Orleans. I don't know if they're going to continue to play the type of football that they're playing, but they're hot right now. You're struggling, and I talked about this with the Falcons, and I feel like it's the same problem with the Panthers. You lack identity. When this team is at their best, they have a clear, very decisive identity. You know exactly what this team is trying to accomplish week in and week out. In 2015, the identity was we're going to bludgeon you to death with the run game and creativity in the run game. And off of that, we're going to hit big shots down the field and we're going to score points. We got so many different ways we can run the football, whether it's our quarterback, whether it's one of our 2 backs, or we can push it down the field. Ted Ginn Jr. can get it on a reverse or a jet sweep. We can hurt you in so many different ways with the run game. And when you start to come up, we're going to go by you in the passing game with Philly Brown, with Ted Ginn Jr. We're going to make big plays. We're going to exploit you over the middle of the field with Greg Olsen. We're going to hurt you with the run game first. And when you start to respect what we do on the ground, then we're going to hurt you in the air. This team has no identity. They can't run the football. No one respects them throwing the football through the air. The play action fake is non-existent because you can't run it effectively. Cam is the only guy that threatens the defense with his legs. And so this team just right now, they're struggling. I think Greg Olsen is really being missed. His presence or lack thereof in this lineup is really being felt right now because they have no answer for the lack of production that they're getting at the tight end position. I saw Megahertz or whatever his damn name is in the game. And I'm like, what is this guy doing in the game? Don't you have some other tight end that you've drafted over the last couple of years to put in the game outside of Megahertz? And I know that's not his name. I know it's something Hertz, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this team lacks identity. This team misses Greg Olsen, and they're not doing a good enough job of circumventing that injury right now. They can't run the football. They lack the identity that is necessary for this team to be successful. Their play caller is struggling. I see too many screens, too many dump downs to McCaffrey. You got to be more creative in the ways that you get this man the football. Everything can't be a screen. Everything can't be a dump down out of the backfield. This man can run routes. You know this, right? He can actually run routes like a receiver. He had a one-hand grab in this game. You know he can run routes, right? Like he can actually split him out, run him on a slant one-on-one against a linebacker, and he can win. You do understand this, right? You don't have to have him in the backfield, delay, act like you're blocking, and then dump it off on the screen. You do know teams do know that that's coming, and they are aware of him in the screen game, right? You do know this. We're clear on this, right? All right, so right now, Mike Schuler's struggling, and I don't think he understands the weapons that he's got weapons. He's got enough weapons. You got KB, you got Funches. You got McCaffrey. That should be enough. Ed Dixon is a weapon too. You got enough. Figure out how to use these guys better than you're using them right now. Figure out how to get this offense back on track. Defensively, you did enough to win this game. Without your leader, you did enough. Their quarterback threw it 7 times. He completed 4 passes in this game. You didn't let the run game hurt you. You had one big run you gave up to Tariq Cohen. Other than that, you shut Jordan Howard down. Your defense gave up 3 points. Are you kidding me? How the hell do you lose when your defense only gives up 3 points? It's ridiculous. Offense, get your ass in gear. This is an abomination here. Ridiculous you lost this game 17-3. And the defense did nothing wrong in this game. This is a farce. You should be ashamed of yourself. You deserve to no longer be in first place in your division after this debacle on the road. Bears get it done. Really embarrassed the Panthers 17-3 at home. Big win for them. They get their second in a row. And for the Panthers, after putting together a wonderful streak of football on the road, 2 straight wins on the road against tough opponents in Detroit and New England, you turn around and you go home, you lay an egg versus Philly, and you lay an even bigger, stinkier, funkier egg on the road versus the Bears. And now, after winning 2 straight, you've lost 2 straight. And all the ground you gained and the traction you had gained after those 2 big road victories, you've given it all back and then some in the past 2 weeks. So really disappointed in this Panthers football team. I thought they were turning a corner this season as one of the NFC's best. That is not the case. They are so far from the best in the NFC conference. Let's get to, and the Bears all of a sudden now, with the injury to Aaron Rodgers, yeah, the Vikings look like the class of that division, and they've already beaten you at home, and you had a chance in that game. But don't look now. They're right there in that division. Packers are 4-2. Lions are 3-3. You're right there. I don't think they're going to make a move in this division, but hell, you would have asked me 2 weeks ago if this team would have run off 2 straight and had a chance to get back to 500 with their next win. I would have told you, no way. They're going to compete. They're going to be in games. They're not going to win them. They're winning games right now. Hats off to John Fox and his crew for getting it done. Let's see. Isaac Schnook says, Bears staying alive. That they are. And that was a big win for them at home against the Carolina Panthers. Didn't see that one coming. Most people didn't. But this Bears team, they're tough. They're rugged. They're athletic. They're physical. And they can run the football. You can play defense. You can run the football. You give yourself a chance. And this Bears team, right now, they're giving themselves a chance to win football games with the way that they play. Their brand of football is going to give them an opportunity most weeks to compete and have a chance to win. They've done that the last 2 weeks, albeit at home. Can they take this same product on the road? Matter of fact, they did it last week in Baltimore. So I stand corrected. They did it on the road. Now they have done it at home. I've been impressed with them the last couple of weeks, albeit against teams that struggle to score. Doesn't matter. You force them to not score. And you put yourself in a position to win the last 2 weeks, especially with your defense creating turnovers. That's been the most impressive thing. Bears get it done 17-3, win their second straight, and are now 3-4 in the season. Meanwhile, Panthers really embarrassed themselves on the road. They dropped to 4-3 and out of first place in the NFC South with the loss. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I'll see you for more lockdown coverage. We got a lot more to get to. I'll see you in a little bit. Have a good one.